remember all of the things that I thought I wanted to be. Hello everyone, welcome to Law Sessions with Kara. I am Elizabeth Gabriel. In this session, I'll be talking about the law of torts, giving it an introduction to the law of torts, particularly defining what tort is, stating the purpose of the law of torts in our society, and comparing tort with other areas of law. As lawyers and law students, we are advised to always refer to sources. And by sources, I mean academics, judicial precedents, legislation, that is what an act says about a particular thing. The word tort is derived from the Latin word tortus, which means twisted. It can also mean wrong. Its legal technical meaning is a legal wrong for which the law would provide remedy. Professor John Salmon defined tort as a civil wrong for which the remedy is common law action for unliquidated damages, and for which is not exclusively the breach of contract or breach of trust or other merely equitable obligations. Professor Winfield said that tortious liability arises from the breach of duty primarily fixed by the law. The duty is towards the persons generally, and its breach is redressable by action for unliquidated damages. Professor Gilbert Cordellier also defined tort as a civil wrong involving a breach of duty fixed by the law, such duty being owed to persons generally, and its breach being redressable primarily by an action for damages. Tort can also be said to be a violation of some legal rights vested in a person by another. It can also be said to be a wrongdoing done to an injured party by another party called the tortfeasor, and as a result of this wrongdoing, the injured party would institute a civil action against the tortfeasor. From these definitions, we would see that the law of tort has its roots in common law. A tort can be committed when the legal right of a person is being harmed by another person. When a tort is committed, the person whom the tort is committed against is known as the injured or the aggrieved party, whilst the person who committed the tort is known as the tortfeasor. Compensation or damages are given to the injured party, and the compensations usually come in the form of money. A tort can take place by a commission or an omission of an act. That is to say, the law has stopped you, has prevented you from doing a particular act, yet you go ahead and do this act. Or the law expects you to do a particular thing, yet you refuse to do that particular thing. Elements of tort. For a civil wrong to be seen as a tort, there must be a duty imposed by law on persons generally, a breach of this duty which must have caused injury to the injured party or aggrieved party, and the law would give remedies to this injury or wrong done to the aggrieved party. The law of tort determines whether a person is legally responsible for the injury done to another person and what type of compensation will be given to the injured party. It also gives the right of civil action to the injured party. The court would give various remedies, and they come in form of damages, injunction, abatement of nuisance, restitution, and so on. The law of tort should be of interest to an average individual because in our day-to-day activities, persons, properties are being injured. These torts include trespass to person, trespass to property, nuisance, negligence, etc. In essence, the law of torts determines the torts, apportions blame, and determines what compensation will be given to the injured party. Now I'm going to be comparing torts with other areas of law like crime, contract, and trust. There is a very thin line between tort and other civil wrongs, that is the breach of contract or breach of trust. And like crime, it runs through every aspect of the law. You can see tort in property law as trespass to chattel, you can also see it in commercial law as negligence, and so forth. A tort is a breach of duty imposed by law, whilst the contract is a binding agreement between two parties which the law would enforce. The liabilities and duties are fixed by the parties in the contract, whilst in tort it is imposed by law. There is the presence of privity in a contract, that is, a stranger to a contract cannot sue if he is not party to a contract, although there are exceptions, whilst in tort there is the absence of privity. The law of tort seeks to protect interests and compensate wrongs, while the law of contract seeks to support and enforce promises. Torts and contracts are similar in the sense that damages are given to the injured party when there is a breach of contract or when there is a tort. An action can be filed by an individual in court. Examples of torts are nuisance, negligence, trespass to person, trespass to chattel, etc. An example of a contract is if A offers to buy B's car for the sum of 50,000 naira and B accepts to sell the car to A. And the money paid to B is seen as the consideration, and then parties must have the intention to be legally bound by their agreements, and they must also have capacity to contract. A tort can occur in the pursuance of a contract. Tort and crime. A tort is a civil wrong, while a crime is a public wrong. That is, a tort is done against a person, while a crime is done against the state, the community, or the whole world. The law of tort seeks to restore and maintain the injured party, whilst criminal law seeks to give sanction and reform the accused person. Parties to a tort can compromise, but when it comes to crime, once prosecution has begun in courts, there can only be a state pardon or the Attorney General of the state entering into a null prosecute, meaning they don't want to prosecute the person anymore. A tort and a crime can occur in a single wrong, thereby giving rise to the state and the individual that is wrong to have concurrent rights to legal proceedings. That is, there can be a criminal and civil proceeding occurring at the same time. An individual may prosecute a crime if the state refuses to prosecute the crime, as long as he meets the requirements required of him by law. If he fails to secure conviction, he will be held liable and made to pay damages for wrongful arrest, malicious prosecution, false imprisonment. Tort and trust. A trust is a right given to a trustee to hold property for the benefit of persons or objects. A tort has its roots in common law, while a trust has its roots in equity. Tort, crime, contract, and trust are not exclusive. That is, they can occur in a single wrong. For example, the stealing and misappropriation of trust funds by the trustee. Actions can be brought against the trustee under contract for breach of the contract, that is, if the trust is in a written document. Action can also be brought against the trustee under criminal law for stealing, that is, breaching the trust, stealing the trust fund. It can also be brought under tort for conversion and detenue, and under civil wrong, that is, trust, for breach of the trust. The law of tort can be categorized into three parts: negligent torts, intentional torts, and strict liability torts. And I'll be looking at these various categories of torts in subsequent videos. By way of recap, I have talked about torts. I gave definitions by different academics to torts. I talked about the purpose of the law of torts. I also went further to compare torts with other areas of law like crime, contract, trust, and I also mentioned the categories of torts, which I'll treat in subsequent videos. Thank you for listening and watching this video. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at LSWK, and our YouTube channel at Law Sessions with Kara. Thank you very much. I remember all of the things that I thought I wanted to be.